We did not have a great lead into this game. On Friday, I didn't think we were sharp in practice at all. Yesterday was a little better. First half today was a little better than that. But the second half, our consistency was not there. Mostly inconsistency at the defensive end. Our defense in the first half was pretty solid, but in the second half, we gave up too many threes, too many layups. And some of it, you got to give Binghamton some credit, because we have a hard time guarding a guy like Gavin Walsh, because he can drive, and he's not normally shooting a lot of threes, but he made threes, he made some driving layups, and we did a good job on Callahan Gold in the first half, but he got off in the second half. And once he hits a three, that opens it up, because that stretches our defense out. But I haven't really looked at the stat sheet yet, but pretty much balance in our scoring. 4 guys in double figures. So questions?
We had 9 players scoring overall. I mean, how good does that make you feel that 9 people got on the scoring?
Yeah, my biggest challenge right now is trying to figure out a rotation. The way Matt Cleveland was playing before the injury, we need to get him back to that, because he is a key player for us. But the other guys are playing well, and I'm trying to figure out eventually what our full-time starting lineup is going to be, and who are the guys that are going to sub regularly. And right now, I think in the first half we played 9, the second half we played 10, and then I think we ended up playing 11. So we'll see.
You talk about Jalen Blackmon, just how you felt he played today, and how you think he's evolving on this team.
From an offensive standpoint, he's a terrific offensive player. He can really shoot. He handles the ball well. The challenge for him is going to always be at the defensive end, and because he plays in the backcourt with Nijel, and neither one of them was what you would call big guards. They're more undersized guards, and the combination of them going against bigger guards is going to be something we're going to have to handle throughout the season.
Jim, ideally, going back to the lineup discussion that you were talking about, ideally you've got different parts of the non-conference, the tournament coming up, the big ones there in December. Ideally, is there a point where you'd like to have the rotation, or is it just till January? Do you think it's going to be ongoing, or do you have an idea?
I really think it's going to be ongoing for a while, because if you see those freshmen are earning playing time. I mean, you see what Jalil did, you see what, Devine comes into the game and, plays really well, and then Austin comes in the second half, and the first thing he does is bury a 3. So we got to figure those guys out and the role they're going to play. But we also have some key upperclassmen, whether it's Matt Cleveland or Paul Jobet or AJ Stanton McRae. We've got different guys. One thing we don't have Kyrie Huey. So Lynn Kidd is such an important factor for us, because he's truly our only big guy.
Coach, a bit of a slower paced game than the FCU game was. Just with that in mind, how do you think the offensive execution was tonight or today?
Yeah, I didn't think we were as sharp as we could have been, and I'll give you a couple examples. Paul Jobet threw a lob to Matt Cleveland that went to the third row. Nijel Pack threw a pass ahead to Lynn Kidd, and Lynn was spinning around, and the ball went right out of bounds. When you make critical errors like that on very, very simple plays, that's not a good sign. I don't know how many, we had 17 assists and 7 turnovers. I think we could have easily been in the 20s. We missed some easy shots. And I think those plays right there, we could have cut our turnovers down at least 2 or 3.
Did you learn anything about your team today, Coach? 1 and 2, do you think, are they ready to kind of step up in class? Bahamas next week and so on and so forth.
Well, we're not going to the Bahamas.
I mean, did you learn anything today, 1 and 2? Is this team in your eyes ready to take?
Are we ready to step up and play against a higher level?
Yes, sir. That's my question.
Power 4 teams. I think time will tell. We don't have the answers right now. We'll have to face those teams and see how they defend us. If you notice today, they double, triple teamed the Lynn kid, primarily because of what he did the last game, right? But Binghamton is small, so they probably felt like if they didn't double team him, he would score regularly. So that was their strategy. Against other teams that have big guys, maybe they'll leave him one-on-one. So every game presents a whole different series of issues that we're going to have to adjust to.
Thank you.
You guys were able to get to the free throw line 25 times, and the last year, free throw rate was really low. Do you think this team is it a point of emphasis, or do you think that this team with its personnel this year can get to the free throw line more?
Okay, the simple answer to that is we're going to try to do what the defense gives us. So we're a terrific three-point shooting team. If they give us threes, we're going to shoot the three. The last game against FDU, their coach made a point of coming out on our three-point shooters, so we shot a lot of two-point shots. All right. Today, we shot more twos, but got fouled on them because we would get to the basket and in the paint. So if we can do that on a regular basis, find the area that hurts the opponent's defense, whether it's twos or threes or getting to the foul line, we need to find our sweet spot every night.
Julie, with 13 points, 3 assists today, just what did you like from him from his first couple games, and how do you think that adjustment to playing college basketball has been for him so far?
He's got a major challenge ahead of him because there's such high expectation. And anytime there's that kind of expectation, as a player, you tend to put pressure on yourself to deliver every single time you touch the ball. I like his effort in practice. I like his attitude. I think he needs to continue to learn because as a freshman, like all of our other freshmen, they have to improve to really help us at the highest level.
And then defensively, you mentioned it's not exactly where it needs to be just yet. Can you identify some of those areas where there needs to be improvement?
Well, again, there's 3 areas. One is on-ball defense. With all these guys driving to the basket on us because we don't have that much size, he's got to learn to guard the dribble better. The second is team defense, and that is helping your teammates. He's doing a much better job and is improving quite a bit in that area. And the third is rebounding, because if we force him to shoot and miss, we got to get on the glass. In his particular case, tonight he had 1 rebound, right? So he can get better at that. Why do I say that? Well, he's 6'5", can jump out of the gym, and if he makes a point of going to the glass, he'll get a lot of them.
One more?
I was just curious what you make of the schedule here early on, once a week. You have a lot of new guys. How do you like it here?
Well, that's why we did it. We have 10 new players. There was going to be a series of adjustments for all of them. First, going from one coach in another school to our situation, get to know our players, get to know the transfers, get to know the freshmen. So I'm happy with how we've prepared for this season. The second thing is, when you play, and I'll say teams like FDU and Binghamton, you're hoping to get off to a good start, meaning get a couple of wins under your belt, develop some confidence, figure out what your rotation is going to be, so that when you do step it up in competition, you really have a good game plan in mind. Right now, we're still not there, but these weeks of practice, hopefully this week will be much better than this last few days were.
Nigel, how do you, after game 2 now, how do you see the team evolving? I mean, definitely a lot of scoring options and so many guards, how you're playing together with Jalen and all the other guards that are all scoring. How do you see you guys all? Coach said the hardest thing right now is figuring out a rotation because there's so many options.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I said before. I mean, we're so versatile in offense. We got so many different weapons. I said it, and that's never going to be our problem. I feel like, in my opinion, is offense. As long as we continue to keep getting better each game with our defense and continue to learn, I feel like we should be set.
Nigel, you've talked about playing with Jalen. Obviously, you guys have plenty of reps and practices. Just in a couple games, can you just talk about maybe what it's looking like to you these couple games that you guys have played together?
Yeah, it's a really dynamic backcourt, I would say for sure. The ability for both of us to be able to shoot the ball from anywhere on the court, and just kind of playing off each other, using him to, he creates for me, I create for him and things like that, and then we also be able to create for, other of our teammates and things like that, so it kind of makes us hard to guard. His scoring ability really stretches the floor for everybody else, and then we got Lynn and stuff inside, so kind of counterbalances everything, where we got the inside presence and the outside at the same time.
Is there something you did in the offseason to either learn Jalen's game the best you could before you got here and all your other teammates? Did you watch stuff? Did you talk to? How did you kind of maybe speed up that process, or did you know?
Yeah, I mean, it started way back when we was recruiting everybody. I mean, I know Jalen, from way back just because we're both from Indiana, but everybody else kind of watching film before they got there. And then Coach L put us, we played a lot of, scrimmages and things like that where we mismatched the teams, we did different things, we scrimmaged a good amount. So I was able to learn a lot of guys in a short amount of time just because, we played so much over the summer and the off season.
What kind of changed today after that first time out? You guys kind of took off after that first minute timeout. What changed? I mean,
yeah, we just had to pick up our energy level. Honestly, we were a little dead. They came out ready to play, and we knew they would do that. And we were just able to pick it up, and things were able to turn around for us.
How key is it that you guys knew each other from Indiana, and the headband thing, is that, who came up with that idea?
Me.
Is that like the Indiana headband,
Nah. Coach L actually never let nobody wear headbands before until this year. So when we were able to get it, that's why I kind of put it back on. But I used to wear headbands at Kansas State, so I think he used to wear headbands too at his old school. So when we were able to get Coach L, we were telling him like, hey man, it's a different era now. We got hair, long hair and stuff like that. The hairband kind of helps. And he's like, if the team agrees with it, you can wear it. So we were able to wear it this year. So I guess it's kind of our thing.
And then how important is it that you knew, how well did you guys know each other in Indiana? I mean, were you friends, or you saw each other on the AD circuit, or were you actually friends?
Yeah, we played against each other a good amount of times. We never were on the same team. We kind of like knew of each other for sure. But we kind of like weren't in the same part of Indiana, so it's kind of a little different for us. But I definitely knew of his game, and then when he was transferred here, we got closer.
And Jalen, how about you? How much did you know about him?
I knew a lot about him just watching Indiana basketball and stuff. He went to a really good school that won a lot of games, so I've watched him a lot, and I've also watched him at Kansas State.
Does that help you guys now with your chemistry on the court together?
For sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
Jalen, what was working for you tonight offensively?
I felt like my teammates got me some good open shots. All my shots felt like in rhythm and like off kickouts and stuff, so I got some good open shots.
What's this transition? We've talked about transition since you've been here. It's very unlikely you're going to get 16 shot attempts a game like you did last year. How have you kind of learned in the offense, when to take shots and just kind of that balance? And obviously, I'm sure coaches want you to be aggressive as well.
Yeah, I actually find it a lot easier when you're playing with such good players that can make plays for you and you can make plays for them. So I don't have to take as tough of shots. I can get easier shots, and I can help other guys get easy shots as well.
you talked about picking it up and having a little bit more energy after that first time out. Is like a 2 p.m. tip off on a Sunday, NFL Sunday, whatever. Is that kind of hard, like to kind of get up for a game? Or?
I mean, we definitely are going to have earlier games, so that can't be an excuse at all, just because of the time. 2 p.m. is actually not even early at all, so we should be ready to go. It's just something we just didn't come out ready for, and this was something we had to talk about, like, hey, we can't, put ourselves in holes, especially as we move further and further down the line this year. But yeah, we definitely didn't come out how we should have, and we talked about it, we told each other, we held each other accountable. We were to come back out.
Thank you.
Jalen, having an inside presence like Lynn, someone who can command double teams, a lot of defensive attention, just how much does that open up for, you as a shooter and then just for the rest of the offense as a whole, in your opinion?
Yeah, so they have to double him every catch, or he's probably going to score or get fouled. So it makes it a lot easier for kick out threes and stuff like that.
I guess also just kind of your synergy with Lynn, just on ball screens and pick and roll and such. Just how is that? How have you guys meshed on the court? As players.
Yeah, so Lynn is really good in pick and roll. You can like throw it to him and come back off and get it. He really understands because he's been in college for a while, like most of us have. So.
One more?
Yeah, I'll ask you, Nigel, just 2 games in, kind of what you like the most about what you've seen on court in these 2 games, and maybe something that you think that you guys want to be better at for this next one.
Well, yeah, I like how we're sharing the ball. I don't know how many assists we had today, but 17. So yeah, that's really good. I mean, we're sharing the ball really well. We're scoring a lot of points in both games. I feel like everybody is playing their role to the T, and that's what we need. one thing we could definitely work on is still our defensive presence. I feel like guys are still scoring a little too much in these games, and we have a certain level of expectation that we hold guys to. I forgot exactly what that number is, but I just feel like we could definitely be a little bit better on defense, and once we, get better at that, I feel like I'll be really happy with it.
I'm looking at the stat sheet, and I thought they had way more than 11 threes. It seemed like everything they put up, they made. I think when you play against a team like Miami, especially, from our standpoint, you're trying to match the physicality. You don't want to turn the ball over, which I thought we did way too much in the first half. I thought it was a little bit more, it was a little better in the second half. But yeah, they scored a ton of points in the paint, and it seemed like, I thought they made 15 or 16 threes. So, I thought we showed a little bit more fight in the second half. I asked the team if we wanted to lose by 40, or if we wanted to at least try to make it a game. And I thought the second half was a lot more consistent. I thought we played a little bit better.
Just more on the second half, what in particular were you most pleased with or encouraged by with how you performed in the second half?
I thought, from an offensive standpoint, I thought we were took our time a little bit more and kind of try to run some offense and get some shots. I thought we took some better shots in the second half. I didn't think we created enough advantages offensively, which you need to do against a team like this. We got to get to the offensive rebounds, get to the offensive backboard when we don't make shots like we did. So, but I thought intensity-wise, I thought it was a little bit better defensively against them in the second half, and we need a more consistent effort.
Going back to the three-point shooting by Miami, what was it that they were? They got multiple guys that can obviously hit threes, but was there something they were doing, or just kind of the quality of player? What would you kind of make of their three?
You know what? When you watch Miami, they are a team that have multiple guys that can make shots kind of on their own. So if you let them get into a rhythm, then they can make. Like I said, I thought they made way more than 11. But when you let them get into a rhythm, they can kind of, they can get hot. A bunch of different guys. I thought some of them, we were a little bit lackadaisical defensively, but then they had a few tough ones that went in also. So yeah, it's just tough. We scout them. We got something we call strongs and shorts, and there's only one short on the team. Everybody else is a strong. So there's so many guys that can make shots. It kind of spreads you out and causes a lot of issues. So yeah, that's a good team there.
To kind of feed off his question, was it something other than the 3-point barrage? Because it seemed like, after that first media timeout, it's kind of downhill. Can you pinpoint to something that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was offensive rebounding. We gave up some second chance points. I thought it was, they got every 50-50 ball. So just when you can kind of finish a possession, you don't finish possession, and then you give them opportunity to score. So, I thought we had some good defensive stands, but then, again, not getting a 50-50 ball, not getting the offensive rebound, which leads to second chance points, it kind of hurts you against a team like this that's bigger than you, more physical. But, I thought, like I said, the second half, I thought that was a little bit better.
Did you learn anything today from your team? But game's over, whatever. Did you learn anything in terms of going forward?
Learn anything, I think what we can take out of it is that we have to play 40 minutes. And if we want to be a good team, we have to play together, So those are the things that you can kind of take from, those are the things you can learn from. You can also point to, if you play with this kind of intensity, for more possessions, it's a different game. And I think the other thing is not really worrying too much about what's on the front of the jersey. I think a lot of times when you come and play, these high major schools, ACC, Miami, you kind of psych yourself out a little bit where it's just basketball at the end of the day, So we have to have that mentality that it doesn't matter who we're playing against, we're just going to go out and play our brand of basketball and not get psyched up by what's on the front of the jersey.
Was there anyone on the Miami team that particularly stood out to you that maybe was a surprise, or someone that did more than what you would have seen on film from them?
Not really. I mean, they all were, pretty good. So, yeah, we watched them, and so we kind of know who's who. But yeah, they were all good.
How would you evaluate them as a team? I mean, it's a brand new, they've got 10 new players. How do you think they look if you had to give an early evaluation?
I mean, you're playing FDU, you're playing Binghamton, so it's hard to say in terms of like when they play against North Carolina or somebody like that. Again, I think they have a good team, they have good players, and so the coach does a good job of getting those guys to play and do what he needs them to do. So I think they're a good team. I think they'll have a chance to be good. I think they were picked 6th or 5th in the league or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think they have a good squad.